Welcome everybody. In this video I will give you 5 reasons why you should not study biochemistry. My name is Victor, I'm in the middle of my biochemistry master's program, and in this video I will mention all the negative things I experienced throughout my studies, which I would like to share with you. Number 1. Learning by heart. The first thing I would like to mention is that in biochemistry you have to learn a lot of things by heart. The learning material in biochemistry is immense, and it's all about the details and your ability to memorize them. In the Krebs cycle, glycolysis, beta oxidation, etc., it's expected to recall all the involved enzymes, the molecular structures, and also the connections to other pathways. It's pretty easy to get confused between all of those enzymes like alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, glycerin-aldehyde 3, phosphodehydrogenase, hexokinase, phosphofructokinase, etc. And it's basically impossible to know all the names and structures and also their functions. Many mechanisms are also poorly understood yet, so that's why you just learn them by heart without going deeper into them. Which is actually pretty good, because if you would go deeper into that, you would have even more to learn by heart. So if you are a person who has difficulties learning things by heart, then you should maybe rethink if biochemistry would be the right thing for you. My second point is the lab work. Biochemistry and biochemical processes are definitely very interesting, and almost all the scientific research uses biochemical methods. But do you actually know what a biochemist is doing? Of course, it's great to hear about the newest scientific achievements in oncology, virology, immunology, and a new drug which was designed for this and that. But behind the scenes are actually people standing the whole day in the lab, splitting cell cultures, transferring some vectors, or just mixing some samples for PCR. And this can be quite boring sometimes. And if things don't go well, and that will be my third point, it might be that you will stand in the lab for weeks and doing day for day all the time the same thing because an experiment just doesn't function the way it should function. Another thing I hate until now are the horrible long waiting times in the internships or in scientific work in general. I think throughout my bachelor I waited more for reactions to be completed than I actually studied. But of course that does not only concern biochemistry but all the other sciences as well, where you also have pretty long waiting times. But personally, I found that always very annoying. I remember, for example, our molecular biology internship. There we came in the morning, we mixed 3 things together, we went out, had a break of 3 hours, we came back, mixed another 2 things together and had another break of 2 hours. After those 2 hours, we came back, put the sample in the fridge, and that was the whole internship. And in the next day we came into the lab and nothing functioned, and we needed to repeat everything again. All in all, the pipette will be your best friend, and you should think if you really want that. Point number 3, the experimental failure. Referring to point 2, I would like to mention the frustration you will experience if you decide to follow a scientific career. Often, and actually very often, you will face failure and insufficient or no results at all, even though you worked your ass off and you did everything what you were supposed to do. You can do everything right, you can disinfect your hands and your bench for like 5 hours, but at the end of the day it might still be that you will not come forward with your experiment. I don't know anyone who didn't experience this, and I know so many people, including me, who needed to repeat so many experiments so often just because things didn't go the right way or didn't grow or whatever. As I was working in the lab for my bachelor thesis, I had a huge problem with contaminations. I checked the water, I checked the nucleotides, I checked the enzymes I used, I bought everything new, but at the end of the day I always had contaminations in my samples and I just did not know why. After a while I actually found out that somebody worked with RNA on my bench, and that's why I had RNA contaminations in my samples. If you study biochemistry, you usually work in very small dimensions, so a little contamination, just 1 microgram or microliter of anything, can disturb your whole results. So it's very important to always work very clean so that you will get the results you seek. So if you study biochemistry, you have to be able to face failure and also be very patient. Number 4, complexity. As I already said in point 1, you have to learn a lot by heart in biochemistry, but biochemistry is also a very broad and very complex field, and many mechanisms are yet poorly understood. Just looking at one pathway is difficult enough, but seeing and looking at the whole entity is way too difficult to comprehend. So many billions of reactions happen each millisecond in our body, and it's just too easy to generalize the function of only one of those molecules. The complexity of biochemistry is a bit overwhelming sometimes, and you do not really have the feeling that you learned already everything, because there is so much to learn that there is basically no end. And that makes it a bit unpleasant to learn. But of course, this complexity is also a positive thing. And now the last point, the future. If you're really interested in biochemistry, you definitely looked up the job chances and how much you might earn as a biochemist. And when you Google how much biochemists earn and how the job chances are for biochemists, you will find completely different results. Some people will say the job chances are very bad, some people will say the job chances are amazing and this is the future. So what is right? I think it's a very known fact that people who follow a career in the industry usually get more money than people who stay at the university and do some research. The problem basically is that biochemists compete with many different other people like chemists, biologists, biomedicine graduates, pharmacists, etc. This is the reason why so many people, they do a doctorate after their masters. And this is also very important because you can have a job as a biochemist, but the question is not if you can have a job, but if you can have a good job. And that's why it's very important to specialize yourself to a specific field, to be better than others, to be better than the biologists or chemists, and to show some qualities they do not have. What I basically would like to say is you are more or less forced to do a doctor, which will take you around 3 to 5 years, depending on you, to compete with the other people and to get the job you really would like to have. And even then, it's not guaranteed. Of course, you do not need a doctor or a master even. You can work after your bachelor too, but the higher you go, the better your chances will be. Of course, your future in biochemistry might not only be the lab. You can also work, for example, as a consultant of companies, or to sell a specific product, or even have an own company. But this is all up to you. Let's summarize the most important points. If you decide to study biochemistry, you will have to learn a lot of things by heart. You will have a lot of lab work, which you may not really like. The third thing is you will experience experimental failure, and you should be patient enough to handle that. The fourth thing would be the complexity and the incomprehensibility of biochemistry, which might be overwhelming and unpleasant sometimes. And the fifth and last point is the future or the job chances, as biochemists compete with a lot of other scientists such as chemists, biologists, etc. Alright guys, that was the video. 5 reasons why you should not study biochemistry. I hope you liked the video and I hope I could help you. Do not forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.